Hello again, and welcome to another online creative talk. My guest this time is someone who has a very, very long history with the theatre, and she won't mind me saying that. She started off working in Australia and has been acting since her teen years. Took a little bit of a break to have a family, but we were very, very lucky to lure her back onto the stage in the Crucible, which was on at the PumpHouse just before lockdown. So my guest today is Marie Mills, and I'd like to say hello, Marie. How are you?
Fine, thanks, Max.
It's lovely to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to see you. Always is.
Oh, thank you. So, Marie, tell us, how did you get started in the performing arts?
I'd always been interested at school, at reading, and I read lots of poetry and stuff like that at school. But I told my mother when I went to high school I wanted to be an actress.
Right.
And she said, "You will never earn any money at that, dear." No. So I got off the tram. I was living in Melbourne. I went from the tram, 2 trams to go to school, got off the tram, marched into 3DB radio station and said, "You do children's sessions. Can I audition?" And I did. And I got a part. And I got paid with a postal note for 5 and 6 pence. So I went home and showed my mother the postal note. And she said, I wasn't at all impressed. She said, "No, you're going to work in a bank." So that was my first experience.
So you did that. You'd not had any drama training or anything. You just had this ambition to be an actress.
Yes.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I know they do children's and they have children on the cards. So I did that right. Oh, well, I left school I was 13 then, and I left school at 15 to go to work in a bank. Mother was right. But the banks in those days had drama groups. And they employed professional directors.
Mm-hmm.
So the bright age of 15, auditioned. And I did quite a few things. And I, with the bank, they use people from all over Victoria.
Yeah.
From their bank. So then I went to work for a radio station, and I was already doing radio work for the ABC, like the BBC, the ABC, Australian Broadcasting, and that was plays. And it just went from there. I then decided at 16 I really had to do something better than this. So I went and auditioned for 2 repertory companies. In those days you had to audition for the repertory companies because it was a big deal. So I auditioned for Q and I auditioned for Heidelberg and got into both.
Wow.
So that was really good. And that's where I started off. I had classes from the man who was the professional director. He's a lovely, lovely old man, and he was a professional actor. I adored him. His classes were amazing. We did Shakespeare.
Oh.
And I just loved that. So with the drama things, they used to hold us Stepfords. I won quite a lot of prizes. I won the youngest young actress award under 21 thing. And that was good. And from there, television hadn't really started.
No.
Just started. And I wasn't interested in television. I was only interested in the theatre. So when I couldn't act, I worked backstage. If I couldn't work backstage, I worked front of house. And that took care of my adolescence. So I was no problem.
So you said the bank itself had its own theatre company. What can you name the bank? Do they still exist?
I don't think so. It was the Bank of New South Wales.
Ah, right.
And they they had people coming up from all over Victoria.
Yeah.
And then they hired Coppin Hall, which was quite a big hall in South Yarra.
Mm-hmm.
And we put on the play for a week, I think.
Yeah.
I can't see the bank. I really can't see the bank doing that anymore.
No. I'm just, wondering, did you sort of rehearse after hours, or did you get time off from your bank duties?
No, it was after work.
Right.
We come in and it wasn't during the day. It was after work. Right. So you sort of chuffed up to the lounge upstairs and did your rehearsal, learnt your lines, and off you went.
So do any particular performances stand out for you? Any particular plays from then?
Not really.
Not really.
No. They were the pot boilers of the day, right. Book of the month, and all those repertory, English rep. Pop,
right,
pop.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you got into 2 repertory companies.
Yes.
You couldn't work in both of them at the same time, or did you?
No, I didn't.
I mean, knowing you probably, you could have done.
No. Yeah. With them, the Heidelberg rep, my husband or fiance at that time, he did the set design.
Right.
He was very, very good. And I worked in Kew. I don't know who I knew in Kew, but I just went and worked, and we did a lot of that. They did a lot of American things like Tender Trap and all that repertory fodder
right.
And the stuff. Nothing serious.
Nothing serious. So yes, is it like how I have been told English rep was, that you went round from place to place and put?
No, they had their own theatres.
Right.
Heidelberg had its own theatre, and Kew had, I think they had carte blanche on the what do you call it, Civic Hall,
right.
on all that.
Yeah. But was it a real turnover? A turnover of plays? Because that's the other thing I've heard, that you'd sort of do one play one week and another play the next week.
That's right. You rehearse 3 weeks and you play 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Rehearse 3 weeks, play 3 weeks.
And while you're playing, you're rehearsing the next one.
Yeah. Which was good.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And then from there I went a bit professional on and off, and worked for a man called Alan Money, who owned a little theatre, dear little theatre in Richmond, and that was called the Muse Theatre. And I think the first one I did for him was Gigi, and his theatre was quite the opposite, really. It was the bakehouse oven, literally, and it had an upstairs, it had a gallery. I think it held 49 people. But it was fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he moved to Carlton, just outside, just on the walking distance of the city. And he took the Muse there. And then it was theatre in the round, but it was quite claustrophobic because it was only an upstairs floor of this building, and it wasn't very big. Again, he didn't seem to want big audiences, so they all had, and they did things like The Postman Knocks once or twice, whatever it was called. I didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
Yeah, but I did with him. I did a lot of poetry. I did a lot of what did I do? I did Chalk Circle. I did St. Joan with him. We didn't do that in the little room upstairs.
No.
We did that in a church hall in Collins Street in Melbourne, if anybody knows Melbourne. And it was an old church, and it was a most wonderful atmosphere. And, it was fantastic. And then we did it again in Monash University because the schools were studying it, and we, broke all the records for tickets.
Wow.
So that was cool. And I had a North Country accent in those days. But that was great. That was probably the biggest. That was the first big break I had, I guess. Yeah. And then I worked for St Martin's Theatre, which was also known as the Little Theatre down in South Yarra. I did quite a few things for them. And the university players. Everybody just swapped everybody around. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Like you'd work, it was again repertory, but you mightn't be in the next play, but you'd be in somebody else's next play.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty good. And the most exciting bit was I worked with people from the Judi Dench, Trevor Nunn, Royal Shakespeare Company's touring company. Yeah, and that was something else again.
So you worked with the Dame?
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't work with her. No, I worked with Trevor Nunn, though.
Wow.
Wonderful. And then I was allowed, the Royal Shakespeare Company do a program called the Hollow Crown. It's a four-hander, and I was allowed to be the lady in it.
Wow.
Which was, blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew me away because I got to do all sorts of exercises, all sorts of programs with the Royal Shakespeare Touring Company. That was fantastic. So that was just in Melbourne. We did that out of St Martin's Theatre. So, yeah, I loved doing that because it was the Kings and Queens of England.
Yes.
And it's a great piece, whoever put it together, it's just great. You know, you had Anne Boleyn's letters and to read. How could you not do it properly?
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting.
I say. So you've kept this quiet from me. You know, you sort of kept this on the down low. If I'd known that you'd been mingling with Trevor Nunn and everybody like that, I'd have been curtsying even more.
Yeah, well, it was like a dream.
Yeah,
it was like the 13-year-old again. I want to act. I want to go to drama school. I was just gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Didn't say boo to a goose. Because there was an awe of all of them.
Yeah. Oh, so did you ever go to drama school, or has this been?
No.
So you've developed as an actress, acting just on the job.
Yeah, just on the job. Well, I did. You know, David Reed, the man from the bank. He still gave me lessons. We still did Shakespeare. You know, he was really old school. And Alan Money also helped because we did a lot of Chekhov and we did Ibsen and we got into the classics.
Yes, yeah.
That's where I wanted to be.
Do you have a particular favourite?
What would be a favourite? I love Twelfth Night. I love St Joan. I love The Crucible. I played Abigail way back then. Before I had any children. Yeah. So I loved that too. I loved Arthur. I did quite a few Arthur Miller plays. I quite liked it. I love his writing.
Right.
But the Chekhov, I did Uncle Vanya. We did that in a great big old castle in the Great Hall, which was just lovely. You know, I was thinking about it the other day and I thought, gee, all the funny places you've acted. But, you know, all these strange halls and churches.
But great experiences.
Yeah, fantastic experiences, yeah.
Yeah, and really challenging, I suppose, for an actor as well, because the acoustics would be different in all of them and the nearness of your audience would be different. So really training on the job.
You sort of go from the little Muse Theatre, the baker's oven, 50 people, and then you're doing a great big hall for the school, you know, in the school hall, and it's stories of people. So, yeah. That was good. And the Royal Shakespeare helped with a lot of that.
I am so envious. I am so envious. You really kept that quiet from me.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't talk about it much, Bags. I never talk about it. I talked to my grandson about it. That's about it. It's good time.
Yeah. So you did radio play. What's the difference between like doing radio plays and doing stage plays?
I was thinking about that, and it's, of course, you don't have the movement. You don't have that to help you. You don't have an audience ever.
Yeah.
And you have all these weirdo sounds and people stepping in and out. But again, it goes back to, you have to visualize the character. You have to visualize the set. You don't get much help. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's you, and it's the words. It's the words that you've got to be sure and clear with what you're saying and true with what you're saying. Because you've got to get it across. I mean, the atmosphere they used to create, some of that radio work was amazing. And it still is, as you say, if the BBC is still doing it, they were just the masters of it. Yeah.
I'm a regular listener to BBC Radio 4 Extra over the internet, because they put on all the plays and things. Because it always, I've often wondered when they say, directed by such and such a body, well, what does the director actually do in a radio play? Because it's not like directing for a stage play where you can say, I want you to come in from this door and I want you to do that. So
yeah.
And you said the character, you've got to imagine the character in the set.
You've got to provide the character, and you've got to provide the voice, of course, and he will tell you if that's wrong.
Right.
In certain terms. Yeah. And you've got to be, you're really left to your own devices. All you've got is the man behind the big window.
Yeah.
That will point to you and say,
Yeah.
And then you're on your own. I mean, some of the plays we didn't even rehearse, which was horrible, because you had no idea what the other actors were going to do.
So in my head, you're all standing around a microphone with your scripts in your hand.
That's it.
And you just step forward and say your line.
You're standing back. We're standing back, and then when you have something to say, you come forward and address the big mic. And it's the same with the sounds. The sounds would all come. Everything was on cue. It was
right. Yeah.
Interesting. But I enjoyed it because I enjoy words anyway. So it was a challenge. And it didn't matter what you looked like.
But you look gorgeous anyway.
You could have come in your pajamas.
Oh, no, that's my kind of job. Kind of job. Because the sort of the image. I've been to a show where they performed in front of a play, not play, but in front of a film, and read the lines. And they had a little man in the corner in a room, and he did all the sound effects.
Yeah,
that's how I imagined radio plays to be. Well,
it is sort of like that.
Yeah.
It's like, if you look at, I think, some of the old television stuff that they used to do, the radio, the Americans used to do it too, the radio in front of a live audience.
Yes, yeah.
They'd film it, but they'd still be on radio.
Yeah. So you were never tempted to try television then?
No, I did it. I was offered a couple of things, but I didn't like it. I didn't, by then I'd got pretty snobby and said I want to do the classics.
Oh.
I just love the classics.
Yeah. So that was when you were in Australia. So when did you come to New Zealand?
76.
And
yeah, I would have. What I would have. I was only about 30 when I gave up. So yeah, I'm 80 now. we won't talk about that.
You haven't given up because, as we say, we managed to lure you out of retirement to go full circle on the Crucible, to go from playing Abigail to playing the one that stirs everything up to playing the voice of reason, Rebecca.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
I was intrigued. Yeah. I thought, that's good. There's not many lines at first. But the more I looked into it and the more I tried to develop her character, I did a lot of character work on Rebecca, and I loved it. I loved it. And then I suddenly got her. I thought, yes, I know what this is about. It's not just lines.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done anything in all that time. You know, and I thought, oh, this could be a disaster. But it wasn't. It was that jolly PumpHouse stage. Talking of where I have worked.
It does weave a bit of magic on people, that old PumpHouse stage. Yeah.
Oh, it did. And I think we did those readings with you, the Christmas Carol and the Peg one. And that sort of, that was tempting. And it was just nice to be back in that atmosphere. Just felt at home.
Right. So looking to the future, have you got your sights set on anything you think, now I've got my teeth back into it, I'd like to play? Is there any role that you?
No, I don't know. I mean, most of Shakespeare's out. They're all pretty young.
I don't know. See, this might be your chance to sell yourself to a director to say, I've always wanted to play whoever, and a director might be listening and go, I want to do that.
Oh, well, I haven't read up on those parts. I always have my eyes set on high.
Why not? Why not?
No, I think what really triggered it was I helped Zane with his lines.
Yeah, and Zane's your grandson, for those people that don't know. And Zane played Hamlet in last season's Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah. So if you saw that, you saw Zane and you saw Marie's work come to fruition.
Yeah, well, it was fantastic. I mean, I didn't direct because it's not my job.
She beat the words into him.
Got the words and the punctuation in. Yeah. And that just brought back all the love of the words.
Yeah.
The words and the characters and how it's still relevant. And of course, all on top of that was something so special.
Yeah.
So special. Yeah.
So if someone offered you a part in a Shakespeare play, would you be up for it?
I would have to very seriously consider it.
So any Shakespeare directors out there who may be watching, Marie would seriously consider it.
Yeah.
She should be very good. She should be very good.
Stop that.
So when you weren't acting in plays, did you still sort of visit the theatre to see shows and things like that?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Do you have any particular style of theatre that you enjoy watching?
No, nearly anything. I'll watch anything. I absolutely was blown away with the first Globe, the pop-up theatre.
Yeah.
We went and saw 12th Night, and I thought, this is Shakespeare as Shakespeare should be done. It was joyful. It was, and the place was crowded and there were young people and it was, all the dust had been blown off. It was loved that. And what else? And when I went to Paris, I went to the Bastille Opera House,
right.
and saw a production of, what was it, Aida.
Yeah.
And that blew me away. I didn't sleep that night.
Yeah, that's got a cast of thousands as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've always been a music fan of classical music.
Mm.
Yeah, really up myself sometimes. So that, and I enjoy the musical comedy. I would say things like Phantom of the Opera, Les Mis, never miss all those.
Yeah.
We always go, yeah, and the ballet, yeah.
So
the theatre things, yeah, it's there and it's stuck.
The performing arts.
Yeah.
So you
can't get rid of it.
So you went to Paris. Did you actually get over the channel to England while you were there?
No.
So you haven't been to Stratford or to the Globe?
No, that was in the plans, but something came along.
Oh well, when disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one we don't mention.
The one we don't mention. Yeah. So you've got an all-round appreciation of the arts with your opera,
yeah, I think so.
Music, and yeah.
Painting. I don't paint.
Oh.
I don't paint. But my first husband was a painter. He did set design as well, but he was also a painter and a very successful painter. And I guess it's just when you move in those circles, you do get involved with everything. Pottery, painting, anything that's not just the theatre. The theatre's very special. But, But, there's the creative people, and everybody's got a bit of it somewhere. Quite convinced of that.
Have you ever dabbled with the other side, like with directing or writing?
No, I haven't. I would love. I think I would be okay with directing. I'm feeling okay about that after having worked with Zona. Feel quite okay about that because I realise I'm looking at the whole thing instead of your bit. Yeah, which is interesting.
So if you could direct a play, put you on the spot again, is there any play you'd like to have a go at?
Yeah. What would I like to have a go at? It'd probably have to be a classic or a sort of classic. I don't know. Might be Chekhov, but I think Chekhov's probably done his stash now because
I don't know. He seems to be quite popular again. He pops up now and again. Pops up now and again, yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Barnia was great. Cherry Orchard was great. Yeah. Slowing everybody down, you see. That's the problem.
So what's something about you that people who know you in theatre terms might not know about you? Are the things that you do outside theatre?
Outside theatre?
I'm thinking of something in particular.
I've had years bringing up kids. I'm a qualified scuba diver.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Warren and I lived on our boat for nearly 7 years.
Wow.
We rented the house and went and lived on the boat, just around New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. God, we had fun.
Yeah.
So that was good. So I can sail a yacht.
Yes. Sail a yacht and scuba dive.
I navigated on assistant navigator on a boat to Fiji, a game boat. So that was a good experience too. Yeah. So yeah.
You are a dark horse This is another guest that said to me, "Oh, I've got nothing interesting to talk about."
Oh,
and I do know that you teach Tai Chi as well. How did you get into that?
I got into that because I used to go to the gym and I hurt my back. So the physio said, I'll go and join the ACC Tai Chi class. And I did, and that's 25 years ago. And I'm now teaching it. I love it. I do. And it is very good. It sits nicely with the theatre stuff because it's relaxation, it's breathing, it's being still, and it's wonderful. I part of it, sponsorship is North Shore Hospital for the Falls people because we get a lot of people that, don't know what to do with their weight.
Yeah.
Not transfer it. So, but I love it, and I love the atmosphere again of working with a group of people, and you get an atmosphere that if they click, it's just a magical experience.
Yeah.
Sort of theatre without words.
But it's the movement again, isn't it? It's
the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people find you doing that?
I do when we don't have what we have.
Yeah.
I do down here in Devonport. I do 2 classes down at the community house, and one at the church, Holy Trinity Church. I do that's a nice group. That's several different types of Tai Chi, and we all sort of do it, which is interesting. And then Narrowneck, the boat club, we do 2 days a week on that. So usually I'm working 4 days a week, 5 classes. Yeah.
Does it feel like work? Does it feel like work?
No.
Oh.
Well, it does some days. You think, why do I have to get? No, it keeps me. It keeps my mind going.
Yes.
Which sounds silly, but when you realise how old I am, it's not. Because other people's minds stop. Yeah. I've got a very inquiring mind.
Yeah. So do you do other things that use your mind a lot?
Yeah. I do a fair bit of quilting.
Right.
And doll making, and I don't do the doll making so much now, but I used to. But I'm still making quilts, which is good.
Yeah.
In the garden, I've found this particular lockdown has really tested me because the motivation isn't nearly as good as it was before. And I don't think that's an age thing. I think that's just everybody fed up.
Yeah, I think, lots of people that I've spoken to, they've said they've found this one hard. Yeah.
Which is awful because, we don't want to be depressed or unmotivated.
Oh, but it's good to hear that you're keeping busy and you're doing creative things, because even the quilting's creative. So you're a very creative person.
Oh, it's very good for the language. No, it is. It's again structure, and I think I work best if I've got a structure around me. Or I set up a structure that I can that I have to work within. Otherwise, I think I just float off.
I'd probably float with you as well. Yeah. So now you've performed on the stage at the Pump House. Do you have any memories of any shows that you saw there beforehand, or anything that you thought, that was a great show, I'm really glad they put that on?
No.
Okay. Because they were all fantastic.
I have hardly been involved with the Pump House. It's only since, saying again, he's going to kill me because he said, don't mention me. Because he started, and I think first time I went to the Pump House was with, it was Wind in the Willows. We took the kids to that because I always take the theatre.
Yeah.
Whatever's on, I'll take the kids to the theatre.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've been to an awful lot of the kids' shows when they were little. But he did one with must have been Rangitoto, the Shakespeare they did.
Yes.
With Rob Owens. No.
Alan Roberts.
Other Robert.
Alan Roberts. We'll give him a
Alan.
Alan, yeah.
Roberts is his last name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. So do you think, did Zane, did Zane know that you'd been an actress in your younger years? Or did he suddenly decide, I'm going to be the actor of the family, and then you had to say, wait a minute, I did it first?
No, but he was interested. I think he did a lead in The Peace Child when he was in, I don't know, 3rd grade.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, that boy's got some talent. But he went, I think he did a lot of stuff with the Mairangi Players and sort of pantomime type stuff, which was really, really good for him. Really taught him things. And then we started talking, and then when he got to Rangi, it was definitely all on there.
Right.
He was,
as
I say, Mr. Roberts was up there on the pedestal somewhere. But and he took a real interest, and then he did that wonderful play at the Rose Centre. He did 2 there. He did Your Bones Trust, was
Brainstorm,
which was great. And the other one was the one about the King.
Line in Winter.
Yeah, which was a wonderful play. And he loved that. He got really into it.
We could play Eleanor in that. We could have a rerun of that, and you could play Eleanor.
Oh, I don't think we could find an old enough king.
We'd look out for one. Yeah.
That's a good play, that play.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So you're managing to keeping yourself busy.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for any creatives that might be watching who are thinking, I can't keep myself busy?
I can only tell you what I've done. I set myself jobs, but I also explore what I'm interested in. I love music, so I will play music I haven't played before, and classical music or whatever.
Yeah,
not all the time. Same with books. I actually did a reread of all the Stanislavski books, which go back a long way and are quite dusty, but great to reread. And I do a lot of relaxation, of course, because of the Tai Chi. So that was in. I think just keep looking, keep exploring any art at all, any sort of art.
Yeah.
Just get that creative little man going in your head that says,
or woman,
okay, what are we making today?
or creative woman. Might be creative woman up there. Yeah.
But I can't draw and I can't sing.
Do you have to be able to do those?
No. You wouldn't like it.
Well, that sounds like very good advice to me. And I'd like to thank you for sharing your stories with us. And I've learned a lot more about you. I already thought you were amazing, and now you're even more amazing. I thought, and the fact that you worked with Trevor Nunn and you kept that from me, that's...
I was just supernumerary.
But you were there.
An extra, almost an extra.
But you were there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Marie, for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you, Meg.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.